Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Awthentik and the Beard. I am the Beard, and it is a finish line event for the NFL season Week 1 kickoff. The NFC East, believe it or not, the Philadelphia Eagles are sitting in first place at 1-0, while the rest of us all lost our first games. I know we are all a little bit hyped because we're ready to put those in the past, and it is going to be interesting to go over these games. And I am blessed to be with nobody else besides Mr. Awthentik. Here he is.
Y'all know what it is, y'all. We had a little bit of technical difficulties to start off the show, but we're going to keep this thing lit, man. I know it's been a tough week for my New York Giants fans one time. Y'all know what it is, man. Your boy Awthentik in the building. Giants Nation is in the building one time, man. Tough L's across the NFC East, man. Hey, Beard, that's why you my brother, man. I appreciate you holding down the intro for a little bit. Impromptu, I know that scared you for a second. I was hearing like some ads in my ears. I was like, man, close everything, bro. We start this whole thing over, man. But you know what it is, man. I'm in the building, man. How was your week, man? Or how was your couple of days here in between these games?
I tell you, it's been pretty crazy. Just super busy, man. And, you know, shout out to Frank the Tank. He held me down on Sunday. He cooked some ribs, cooked some sausages, cooked some shrimp. So it was pretty dope. I mean, it was tough. Like, when the game first started, I was, like, lit. Like, I couldn't sit down. You know what I'm
right there with you.
And then Doug and Tank are like, hey, man, you got to sit down, dude. And I'm just like, man, y'all not hyped? This is week 1, man. But, like, I'm going crazy.
Hey, and speaking of Doug and the Tank, man, it's our 20th high school anniversary, like on Saturday or something like that. And they posted a bunch of throwback pictures, bro. And I saw Frank and I saw Doug, a bunch of the old homies from high school I forgot about, man. But it's funny you were hanging out with them this weekend.
Yeah, and the thing that's crazy is that they were showing pictures of the reunion, and they were showing pictures of me in y'all class.
I did see that, dog. I'm like, y'all don't know that the Beard was a year younger than us. Like, come on, yo, y'all got to get y'all facts right. But we did kick it through our high school like a whole bunch, so people probably getting that mistaken, man. But yo, we got to get this show on the road, man. If you've been following me on Twitter, it's been a hot, interesting week on Twitter. Giants fans been fighting like brothers out there, man. And I think that's just bound to happen with, you know, the kind of loss we took on Sunday, man. But yo, let's get to this chat one time, get a couple shout outs out the way, man, and let's get to it, man. We got 4 games to break down and recap. I'm hyped, man. Let's get it going.
Let's do it. I think they said the beat is cranking too much for them.
Oh, nah, you know how we start off. We got to get it popping in the beginning, man. Giants Nation is in the building, bro. Hey, Sean G, we got you, fam. We got you.
Big shout out to Roman in the building. Appreciate you stopping by as always. Waterfly came through and showed some love to everybody before he had to bounce. So big love to Waterfly. Margie's in the building. AJ's in the building. Lax044 is in the building. Sunday is in the building, holding us down. We appreciate it. Joe
Sunday back in the building.
Our resident Chicago Bears fan, what's going on, brother? Great to see you. Philly Flipper holding it down for the Eagles fan base. Lucas checking in from Australia. What's going on, Lucas?
Lucas is dedicated, yo. What's up, fam?
Well, I want to get an update on how your nephew did. If he got some more playing time this Saturday.
Oh, that was Texas Tech, right?
Texas A&M.
Oh, Texas A&M. That's right.
Yes.
That's what's up, Lucas.
Who else we got in the building? Sean G is in the building. Bark Nasty's in the building. What's going on,
Hey, Bark Nasty in the building. What's up, fam? How you living?
Hope you're doing well, brother. Oh, I ain't seen Afghanistan, baby. Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's up, Afghan? How you living, fam? How you living?
What's going on? Cernock is in the building as well. What's going on, Cernock? Great to see you, brother. Hope you are doing well. My man Leroy Blood, Sweat, and Cells is in the building.
What up, Leroy? What up?
Marjorie says an announcement will be made during halftime of Thursday night's Giants-Washington football team game that will involve the future of Hard Knocks series per a league official, per Adam Schefter.
Wow, that's what's up. Marjorie, always breaking that news for us. We appreciate you one time. So that's all we got for the chat today.
Yep.
For the shout outs in the chat.
Week 1 is here.
Week 1 is here, man. So let's see where are we gonna start on this NFC East weekend, man? It was really good to get football. We'll get that out the way, man. Like I just been waiting for this, and like you said, man, I couldn't sit down. I had 3 screens in here. One had on the Red Zone. I had a couple other games. I had Bad Dog Live with Entertainer. Shout out to them for doing the stream, man. It was just a fire atmosphere. I enjoyed myself, man, thoroughly, even though the Giants took the L. But let's start with this Tampa Bay game. Get this one out the way from the Thursday night game, man. The Super Bowl champs took on returning Dak Prescott, fresh off the injury, man, the leg injury. Also had the shoulder injury going on. Dak Prescott was out there just trying to light it up. 403 yards on the day. I feel like he didn't miss a beat. Tom Brady came out here. He put up almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He was 32 of 50. Leonard Fournette was the leading rusher for the Tampa Bay Bucks with only 9 carries for 32 yards. Not really a rushing game. A lot of air it out in this one. Wide receivers was definitely getting off. Antonio Brown back in the mix, man. How many catches was that? 5 catches for 121 yards and a touchdown. And Amari Cooper balled out as well with 13 receptions for 139 yards. 2 touchdowns, man. I kind of want to get this game out the way. I know a lot of people have already talked about this game. We're already, damn near a week past Thursday. We're looking forward to the Thursday night game coming up. We know about that one between the Washington football team and my New York Giants traveling down here. But what else did you see in this game, man? The Bucks came out on top just barely. I think that the Cowboys put the NFC East on notice here. A lot of points in this game. Defense might still need to get cleaned up for the Cowboys, but what else were you seeing in this game?
I mean, the most important thing, obviously, we were looking for Dak to see how Dak was going to perform, and he lit it up. I mean, he was definitely healthy. He was definitely back. So, he was good. And I mean, he looked a little bit off on the running a little bit, just like a little bit slower than what you're used to seeing him. But that'll come back with time. But the shoulder issue is obviously not a problem. So that was huge. CeeDee Lamb is a problem. Amari Cooper is a problem, for everybody else. But let me say this. I have been, but now I'm even a little bit on the offensive side of the ball. I am a little bit more worried about Zeke. Okay, so I know Tampa Bay has basically the number one rush defense, okay? And I know that, depending upon the way that the game is going, is going to be depending upon how they run the ball and things like that, right? But Zeke has only ran for 100 yards 2 times in his last 16 games.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we know a lot of those games weren't with Dak Prescott, though. That we got to give him that benefit of the doubt at least.
Definitely true.
But that's a good nugget.
I feel like they're using Pollard a lot more, but I will say this also. Zeke had some really nice blocks for sure. He was picking up some blitzes in that game.
Oh, you meant like that? Like he had nice blocks like that? Yeah, he was physical. In the pass protection, he was super physical.
Yeah. And I'm going to throw this out there, just to think about. But because Dallas's defense, they had some turnovers. They had turnovers last year. But a lot of these turnovers were Tampa Bay shooting themselves in the foot. You know what I'm saying? But Trayvon Diggs looked really good. I was talking about that with somebody on Twitter. Trayvon Diggs looks very much improved from last season. He did a great job on Mike Evans. But the big thing here is if I'm Dallas, I think I'm looking, if I can find somebody to take on Zeke's contract, I'm looking to trade Zeke for some defensive star power.
Now, I started a new show this past Monday called Giant Overreaction. Could this possibly be a giant overreaction, being that it is week 1?
It could be, but I'm just planting the seed.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm not saying like, oh, you have to trade Zeke. I'm just saying that like if I'm Dallas, you're not going to be able to keep all these contracts for forever with Dak, Zeke, Amari Cooper.
I don't believe that, man. Teams seem to find ways to work around the cap, man.
Yeah, if the
Giants came into this season, they said they had a certain amount of cap number, and man, we went millions and millions and millions above that. They found a way. And you brought up Tampa Bay, which is a good point. They found ways to maneuver that to restructure contracts and things like that.
So I just think that if you have a piece that you're not really utilizing that much, right? So obviously we'll see how this, workload carries throughout the season. But if I'm Dallas and I'm using Pollard more and I feel comfortable with Pollard, and if my defense is still, giving up tons of points and tons of yards, and I have a player like Zeke who I'm sure could be very valuable on a team like Buffalo,
Yeah.
San Francisco. I mean, obviously, I'm just throwing names out there, but like that is something that I would think about. Just
what would you want to, if you did trade him? What would you want to get back from a piece on defense, or try to add a weapon to the offense?
Piece on defense.
Yeah,
because I think offensively, like we saw it, they're good. They're
really good. They're really good. Even with some mistakes out there from CeeDee Lamb, he still had a really good game.
Really good game. I mean, he's electrifying is what he is. And
Cooper I really like
is dependable. So it's like to have that balance of dependability and electricity. Like, I mean, what more could you want as your wide receiving core? As far as Tampa Bay goes, I mean, they turned the ball over how many times? 4 times?
Four turnovers in this game, which is a little bit, it shouldn't be that alarming, because you can't forget he had the Tom Brady had the interception before the half where he just heaved it up in the end zone. You had the tipped pass to Leonard Fournette that was like, to me, a ball that Fournette should catch for sure. I mean, it's up above the shoulders, but he should catch that one. And if you don't catch it, don't Evan Ingram and be like, here, And then you had the fumble from Ronald Jones, and then I think there was another fumble maybe, or another interception from Tom Brady. Yeah, it was another interception from Tom Brady. I can't remember how the other one happened. But yeah, Tampa Bay was shooting themselves in the foot all day in this game. You look at the penalties too. 11 penalties for 106 yards. They lost the time of possession battle. They allowed Dallas to hang around. And honestly, I think that Dallas was right there to win the game. The only difference here was Tampa Bay in the red zone, 3 for 5 in the red zone. Tom Brady killed it in the red zone. And Dallas was 1 of 4 in the red zone. Everything else looks pretty accurate. They both had right around 21 passing first downs. Dallas had 21, Tampa Bay had 22, but Dallas had 4 rushing first downs and Tampa Bay only had 1. So Tampa Bay really struggled to run the ball all day. Total plays, Dallas had 13 more plays than them with 77, and the Bucs had 64 plays. Total yards was only 20 yards apart. Total drives was 13 apiece. So this was a really even game, and I think Dallas came out here. They really fought hard. They showed you that they could represent the NFC East this year. And there was a question we asked doing the previews before we got into the season about, can Dak Prescott take this team to number 1 in this division? And I think he answered all those questions in one game going up against the Super Bowl champs. The hard part for me is, was this a down game for Tampa Bay, or was this an up game for the Cowboys? What was it? Should we expect this from the Cowboys to come for the rest of the season? I know they got a bit of a easier schedule in the beginning of the year. I kind of got them going somewhere around like 5-6 wins in their first 8 games, maybe, which that's polar opposite of what I picked for them last season. But we'll see. I think it is, man. Yeah,
that offense looked to be like, if somebody goes down like that, your starting quarterback goes down with an injury as significant as Dak's was, and to come back in the first game against the Super Bowl champs and that defense and put up the type of numbers and game that you did, that's to me, that's showing a lot. And I thought the offensive coordinator for Dallas called a good game.
It's interesting because when you put up points, this is a good game. Like, I think that the lack of run was a thing. I think people were kind of like, what's going on? But we can't forget that Zach Martin was out with COVID in this game, right?
Yeah.
So you're missing your best offensive lineman. It's hard to run. And Zeke only had, 11 carries, 33 yards. I think that's verbatim what Saquon Barkley had in our game. And it's kind of crazy, the narratives. They're like, hey, trade Saquon. And you just said, hey, maybe we should trade Zeke Elliott here. So, maybe it is an overreaction Monday type vibe. I'm not too sure. But, yeah, I will say that Dallas put up a hell of a game. And speaking to the weapons, remember we asked that question, too, on the Week 1 episode about who had the best weapons in the NFC East. After Week 1, you still feeling the same about your Washington football team, or you think Dallas Cowboys might have the best weapons?
Listen, I'm pretty sure I ended that conversation by sliding in that Dallas is probably has the best.
I think you did. I think you did.
Backtracked a little bit, but yeah, I mean, it was clear. It was super clear. It's just that CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper together is just. I mean, there's nothing like that in the NFC East, or is there? I might throw some names out.
It might be a little bit early. We need a couple more weeks to really see. I know my Giants need a little bit more time. But, on Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, what's interesting about them, right, is they're a duo that's like kind of similar in a way. Like CeeDee Lamb isn't like a 50-50 ball catcher. He can be, I think, though, because he can do it all. But he's not like that big body wide receiver. He's more of a guy who's doing the work in the slot. And I've always thought that Amari Cooper, he's had a lot of success on the outside, but he's built kind of like a slot guy. So, normally this kind of tandem doesn't work. Well, at least in New York, it doesn't work. When you bring in a guy like Golden Tate to pair with Sterling Shepard, very similar. They kind of couldn't figure out how to make it work. But Dallas is doing a fantastic job of making this work. And they made it work on a Thursday night where the run wasn't clicking. So I think that's interesting. Like, imagine if we can get Ezekiel Elliott getting 80 to 100 yards a game on top of this. Dak Prescott picked up right where he left off. I talked about how in his first 5 games, he was on pace to throw for 6,500 yards. We know that teams will scheme for that. And yeah, quarterback probably won't throw for 6,500 yards, but he was putting up 400 yards every game. And he comes right back off the injury and he gives you 405. So I think the questions about Dak Prescott, we got to put him to rest. Just consistent, sure. I know that this is what we wanted to see out of our quarterbacks in the NFC East. We wanted to see elevated gameplay, and we didn't get that for our team. So I know if you're a Dallas fan, when you woke up Friday morning, you felt good about things, but I think the Eagles winning kind of simmers you down a little bit, and you know that you got another team that you're going to compete with. L is an L, even if it is to the GOAT and the Super Bowl champs. You still took an L, and you're at the bottom of the division.
Moral victory in the National Football League.
Yeah, there really isn't. There really isn't.
High school, maybe even like D3,
maybe not even there, man. I don't want no second place trophies, man. Straight up, bro.
But yeah, I mean, it was great to see. Like, I'm sure for a fan, like, the question marks surrounding Dak were insane. And it wasn't just the foot, it was the shoulder.
It was everything.
And so, like, I'm going into this game.
You was like, he hasn't thrown a pass.
It's gonna be heavy, Zeke. And they came out. Whoop, 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 whoop. So I mean, like, shout out to Dak, man. Like,
shout out to Kellen Moore too.
Football, as a fan of football, when you see somebody who's, he is. I don't care what anybody says. He's definitely a major face in the National Football League as a business. Okay, he's on the commercials.
He's on the commercials while he's frying. Him and Tom Brady were like going back and forth in a quarterback battle and a commercial battle. It's like Baker Mayfield and Russell Wilson. It's really crazy, man.
So it's important for the league to see somebody, get hurt like that and then come back and perform like that on a national stage on the first game of the season. I mean, it was a great game. And look, at the end, Awthentik and I were on Twitter, and I'm like, it's about ready to go down. And you asked, you said, you think it's going to happen? I said, I gave you the little gift because, I mean, it's Brady. Like,
it's Brady. And I said, we'll see, because I called something else earlier in the half of that game, and I was totally wrong. So I was like, I can't be wrong twice in this game. I was like, we'll see. And what was it, like a minute, 30 seconds? He drives down the field, and Brady does Brady.
Clockwork.
It's clockwork. He's not new to this. He's true to this, as my homie Damon would say. Shout out to my homie Damon in Hawaii, because that's facts. Tom Brady does this. And when you can do it on a stage like that, man, this is like the best opening day I've seen in so long.
Yeah.
Opening day, my man's like, oh, we don't need no time to get warmed up. We don't need preseason. You haven't even heard about Tom Brady in the offseason like that. I don't know if that's because we're fans of our teams and whatnot, but like, there's just so much talk about the New York Giants entering the season, so much talk about Washington. Brady and them just won a Super Bowl, and no one's saying nothing except, hey, they brought all 22 back. Be on guard, pretty much. And Tom Brady does it on the biggest stage on opening day.
Rob Gronkowski was literally retired for a year.
I know.
Came back last year, played well, made big plays. But, I mean, that game, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, two touchdowns. He
looked like old Gronk.
Did you hear Tom Brady talking about the audibles that he called on the one where they did where he faked like he was blocking? So he said they audibled 3 times, and Gronkowski was like, I don't want to tell y'all too much about this, but I'm going to tell you a little bit about this. He was like, we used to do this back in New England all the time, where Tom would give me just an audible. He audibled Gronk 3 times. On the 3rd time, he sent them on the audible, which was pretty much to just do a chip block for a little bit, act like you're staying in, and then leak out, I'm going to hit you. Touchdown. And he's got Gronkowski looking like, 5-6 years ago, Gronkowski. I love it. I love to see it, man. I love to see the GOAT just turning up and doing more. Somebody was saying, will one more Super Bowl add to his legacy? They were like, probably not. Yo, just keep stacking them up, Tom, because, man, you goated, super goated. And the more Super Bowls you get, the more that debate's going to be out the window. I saw Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp debating on this one about the goated player of all time at any position. Shannon was on the side of Jerry Rice and LT. I'm on the side of LT for sure on this too, just because I bleed blue. And Skip was talking about it's undeniably Tom Brady. So, Tom Brady keeps stacking these chips. It's going to be undeniable. I'm going to have to give it to him. The dude's 44 years old out here putting up numbers like 25-year-old Tom Brady. He's balling. He's straight balling. And he's like representing for all the OGs across America. Y'all know Awthentik. I just told y'all. I got a 20-year high school reunion coming up, man. I got a rep for the OGs, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is, man. Anything else you want to add, to that game before we get moving to this next one with the Falcons?
No, it's just I think we're all on notice for sure. Dallas is going to be a team that's going to contend in this division, and I think we all saw that in the first game. I think they still have some defensive issues they need to work around, but I mean, if they're putting up those sort of numbers offensively, I don't know who else in the NFC East is going to be able to score with them. So it's definitely something to keep our eye on for the rest of the season for sure.
Big time, man. That's big facts, man. Well, let's get to this next one time, man. So this our boy kind of now. I kind of felt myself rooting for the Eagles in this game, and that sounds crazy when you're a Giants fan, but I'm going to keep 100, man. I like seeing Jalen Hurts out here do well. He did a fantastic job in this game, man, and I think he's the real deal. Shout out to the homie Bad Dog. He put up a really good video just 2 days ago about Jalen Hurts having the quote-unquote it factor. And that I think he has. Dude is a winner. I love his demeanor in the press conference, man. This dude is just like dressed well. He's got a demeanor like he's all about business. Broad shoulders, nothing timid. Everything is just right, straightforward answers. Love what I saw out of this dude, man. 27 of 35, 264 yards. Let's not forget about the 7 carries for 62 yards. He accounted for over 300 yards of their offense. He had 3 touchdowns, and he improved his completion percentage in this game. Jalen Hurts is looking really good. There's a play that I wanted to break down early on in the fourth quarter for them. There was about 13 minutes, 20 seconds left in the game. Even the Eagles offensive line, they're fantastic, man. You got to see them pick up the blitz. I marked it down, 13-20, fourth quarter. Go check that out. 6 people approaching the line. They picked up the blitz like nobody's business. Jalen Hurts just stood in the pocket, delivered a strike down the field. Love what I'm seeing out of him. We talked about Wayne Gallman for the Falcons, and I talked about Cordero Patterson being just ahead of him. And guess who was the Falcons' leading rusher? It was Cordero Patterson. 7 carries for 54 yards. Calvin Ridley was relatively quiet because Falcons couldn't put the ball in the end zone. 5 catches for 51 yards. One thing that me and the Beard was talking about off air was the Falcons. We knew that defense was straight garbaggio. I broke it down. Their secondary only has one person making over $1 million on the whole secondary. The 2 other people back there were making like under $1 million, whatever. No namers. These are just dudes scooped up off the streets. Don't know a lot about them. I can't even name no players on this Falcons defense. I'm going to keep 100 with you. But we knew that the Falcons offense could put up some points. We saw that dating back to last season. They had a lot of high-scoring games. Barn burners, as we don't like to say on Awthentik and the Beard no more because we figured out what that means. Had a little bit of racial kind of like a hints to that.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, you remember that? Yeah, it was kind of like the Monday Night Football shirt too. We Xing things off left and right. but this one was definitely, a blowout for the Philadelphia Eagles, man. And I love seeing it. I'm not going to lie. I was rooting for Jalen Hurts in this game, and then when it got down to like third down, I was just hoping that they wouldn't convert on third down and somehow the Atlanta Falcons would win this game. Unfortunately, the Falcons come out of this one with the L, and the Eagles take the win 32-6. Now, that's a blowout right there. A lot of people were talking about the Denver Broncos game being a blowout against my Giants, but that was a 2-score game. Definitely a wider or more narrow margin than it looked. It should have been a wider margin. I will agree with that. But the Beard, man, what are your thoughts on this game here, man? And what are your thoughts on Jalen Hurts?
I listen. Jalen Hurts is finally starting. I mean, listen, all right. I don't want to overreact. It's obviously that's what we do in the first week of the NFL season to some extent. Some a lot more than others. But we've been talking about Hurts since last year.
We have.
Like he's been on our radar.
Are we not like the only content creators that were like really talking about Jalen Hurts being good?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people just were over this whole thing. Like he's not an NFL quarterback. Yeah, just because he was good in college.
I hope we're not. I hope we're not jumping the gun. He did ball out, but it was the Falcons. I hope we're not jumping the gun.
I mean, if you watch the plays, like it, to me, that's what. That whole thing about the it factor, like that's what I'm looking at when I'm watching him because he has the ability, if a play breaks down, to do other things that other quarterbacks in the National Football League can't do. Like Patrick Mahomes, right? Like a lot of Patrick Mahomes is his it factor. Obviously, yes, he has a cannon of an arm. things like that. But that as everybody knows that. But Patrick Mahomes knows how to make a play when a play breaks down. So that's super important. And I saw Jalen Hurts run it wasn't like he was like pulling down just to run. He was running for first downs when they needed to move the ball. And I think the other thing that's super important here is that, Philly Flipper mentioned in the chat, and we talked about it earlier, was the fact that Miles Sanders finally got used how Miles Sanders should be used. And
that's facts, and he broke the big run.
Yeah, when you're able to use your running back the way that they did, I think he had 74 yards on the ground, and I think he had something like 38 or 40 yards receiving. So it's like, you're utilizing Miles Sanders. It really helps your offense. But I think, to me, one of the most impressive things here is, and this is what I was alluding to earlier when I was talking about wide receiver tandems, is Jalen Reagor showed up. Okay, 6 targets, 6 catches. Okay, he didn't drop a ball. He made some plays. Devonta Smith, as first catch in the NFL, touchdown. So
crazy.
Jalen Hurts was spreading the ball. What's even crazier is he caught the game-winning touchdown in the national championship in overtime in that same end zone in that same stadium.
Oh man, that's amazing for the kid. He had a lot of pressure on himself, coming out of college as the Heisman and the weight issue that a lot of people were overblowing. Now look, I saw Sirianni's post-game speech to the team.
He is a character, by the way.
He's a character, and I love it. Yeah. I think he's a good coach. I really do. I like he seems like a leader of men, more than maybe he might know the X's and O's. I'm not too sure. But what I was going to say about the locker room speech was Devonta Smith, he was in the locker room with no shirt on. Dude is ripped. He's not skinny. We got to throw that narrative out. I don't know. And I was one of the people pumping that narrative. That's what's crazy. But I don't know if when he got into the league, he really hit the weights. But I can't wait to see him in like year 3. He's gonna be a bona fide stud wide receiver in this league. Now, what I wanted to ask you was, I know he had 6 catches, 71 yards, and 1 touchdown, right? Do you know how many targets it was?
8 targets for Smith.
8 targets. So they made him a part of that game plan, and they forced it. I loved it. He's a great route runner. He knows how to get open. We talked about that, how he looked in the preseason. People were kind of alarmed about the couple of drops that he had. But you just watch him off the line, man. He's better than most wide receivers already at coming off the line. It's hard to get your hands on him as a DB, and I think that just gives him an advantage when he's doing short, intermediate routes, man. The dude just looked incredible, man. His first play you get is a touchdown. I mean, it's a dream. It's a dream, man.
I do want to say this. It was pretty crazy to see all those rookie wide receivers score touchdowns in their first game.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase.
Got one. Two. Got
Jalen
2.
Waddle. Yeah, Jalen Waddle. And
I had Jalen Waddle on my bench, too. And then Devonta Smith.
Touchdowns.
Yeah, that's awesome. And here we are with Kadarius Toney sitting there trying to figure out a way to get him worked into the game. Ooh, I know Giants fans ain't liking that. Yeah, you talked about him, too. Yeah, he did get targeted like twice, I think, too.
So yeah, it was it was exciting to see from a football fan perspective, because so much negativity goes into some of these players, and I feel like I think that's something that kind of attracts us to those players, because we feel like a lot of these young players, like, let's give them a little bit of time before we start anointing them a bust, or saying that they're not talented enough to play in the NFL, or that, they need to go. Why did they trade for Gardner Minshew if they're confident in Jalen Hurts? And I felt like this was a huge game for a young quarterback in the NFL. And, I am an NFL fan. Yes, I'm a Washington football team fan, but like, I'm also an NFL fan. So it's like, when you see somebody who's getting the short end of the stick like Jalen Hurts, and you see him come out here and succeed, like, to me, that's a feel-good story in a way. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, we got to see how it progresses throughout the season. But I thought that their game plan all the way around on both sides of the football was absolutely amazing. It's interesting because, like I said, the Atlanta Falcons usually score points, even though they're bad. They usually score points.
They usually do. Yeah.
But that Eagles defense played really well. I mean,
did.
In the red zone too. The red zone defense was crazy because
I got the red zone numbers here, and that's where Atlanta failed. They were 0 for 2 in the red zone, and and on the opposite side of the ball there with Jalen Hurts, the quarterback, the Eagles were 3 for 3 in the red zone. Hey, what's up? I like the name. I like the
Checking in
name.
from
That's
the
what's
UK
up.
on Periscope. Shout out.
Oh, they look like they got a podcast. Bring that back up one time.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, put your link in the chat, man, and we'll definitely check you out. Yo, I like the logo already. I'm digging that. That's fire right there. Did you highlight the comment from Philly Notion earlier? I was kind of rapping. I don't know if I saw it or not. Okay, that's what's up. Shout out to homie Philly Notion in the building. He says Hurts going to be the best quarterback in the division, and he definitely got a chance. Dak Prescott definitely out here balling too, man. But yeah, the one thing that we didn't cover here is what happened to Kyle Pitts.
So he got targeted a lot. I think it was 8 targets. He ran a lot of Yeah, he had 8 targets. I think it was 4 catches for like 31 yards or something like that.
Yeah.
And he ran routes. I think it was 79% of Matt Ryan's dropbacks he was running routes on. So he's definitely
Kyle Pitts looks more like a wide receiver than even a guy like Evan Ingram. In the pads, he looks like Julio.
Can I say one thing? Because you just reminded me of this. Did you have any trouble adjusting to all the number changes?
The single digits especially.
Like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Like I think it's cool that that you can wear single digit numbers. But man, it was
hard to adjust.
Me off.
Where it really is difficult to adjust is when you see like a linebacker wearing like number 7 or something. I'm just like, whoa, like who is this? Why are you on the field? It's definitely interesting. I think me and Kyle Pizzle was talking about this on Twitter. I think they should have reserved the single digit numbers for skill positions like wide receivers and corner. Even cornerback is kind of weird to be wearing a single digit in the NFL. We've been so programmed to see the 20s and the 30s at cornerback, and occasionally a 40s, but that's usually a depth player. I don't know how I like it at linebacker, or at running back. Leonard Fournette wearing 7 was strange the whole game.
Does it also it makes me feel like it makes people look skinnier in single digit numbers.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I like the single digit numbers, because I'm slender. And that's why I think I'm about to buy that Sterling Shepard jersey, is because I like that. The single digit, you put 2. Eli's jersey always looked good on me because the 1 was slim, right? And then the 0 next to it kind of like forms this to be like 1.5 the width of 2 normal numbers. But don't let me have on like 88. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to look... The sides of the 8s is going to be wrapped around my back. You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm only a 32 waist out here. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I like the single digits. And I agree with you. It definitely makes them look a little bit more slender and strange with linebackers wearing it. That, to me, it was the most strange at linebackers rocking it.
But, yeah, that Atlanta offense was strange. I mean, first of all, okay, so Cordell Patterson is the leading rusher, and he's playing running back wearing number 84.
It's crazy.
So like that's a little weird too. But I mean, he had some runs, man, where you were just like, this guy, like, and Mike Davis was kind of disappointing for sure, But
for sure.
But Kyle Pitts, he wasn't electrifying, but that entire offense wasn't. I mean, think about all the hype that Calvin Ridley had going into this season.
Yeah, we talked about his numbers too last show, and I mean the numbers were crazy. The numbers were ridiculous.
Yeah,
he had number 1 wide receiver numbers, and Julio Jones was hurt a lot of last season. But who knows? It's just one game. But maybe the Falcons are worse than everybody thought. Kudos to me for picking the Texans to beat the Jaguars, 2 teams that we thought might be at the bottom of the division. But here's the thing, man. The Falcons look like they might be the worst team in the league. Detroit Lions went out there and they put up some points against the 49ers at least, right?
That game was insane.
And I know, and they almost came back and they almost tied the game down 8.
38-10.
Yeah, so, entering the 4th, I want to say, right?
I think it was end of the 3rd, 4th quarter, probably. Yeah. I think so. But from a gambling standpoint, make sure you guys watch us every Sunday morning, the parlay at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Big picks, man. We didn't talk about around the league in the beginning because I was so hype. I was so lit to just get going. But we should have talked about that, man. I picked the Pittsburgh Steelers to beat them Bills. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I was on the spread on that, the plus 6.5. You know what I'm saying? That seemed a little fishy. So
definitely, yeah.
But like that game, the Lions 49ers game, when we were talking about that was an 8.5 point spread. Imagine if you took that spread, 8.5, right? And then you're up 28 points.
Oh my God!
And going in the 4th quarter, and you just watch that thing just dwindle.
Money flying. That's awful. That's awful. Shout out to a couple people in the chat. I see. What up, Nick the Wick, and what up, Bobby? How you living, man? I see Glock in the building one time too. What's up, boy? Yeah, man. But that game was interesting, man. It's 1 week. I don't want to panic, but the Falcons look really bad. The Giants didn't look too well on offense either, but I mean, the Falcons just couldn't get it together. And I felt like the Eagles were allowing them to kind of hang around. And, the time of possession in this game was fairly close, 31 minutes to 28 minutes, and more like 31 minutes to 29 minutes if we round it off proper. But the Eagles pretty much doubled the yardage of the Falcons. So, I mean, Jalen Hurts, man, dude's a beast right now. One for one. And that's what they were preaching in the locker room. They were just like, we just got to win the next game. They were like, this ain't about the whole season, just one at a time. And that's what you got to preach to your players. And I liked what I saw out of the coach. And I do want to give Sirianni kudos for this, man. Simplifying that game plan for Jalen Hurts. He made things look easier for him than they did last season when Doug Peterson was calling the plays or designing whatever was happening over there in Philadelphia. So kudos to Sirianni, where a lot of people thought that he might not be a good coach. I thought the game plan was simplified just perfect for a quarterback who needed a simple game plan. And when we get to this Giants game, we're going to talk a little bit about that, too, about why maybe the game plan is simplified for a reason, But when the game plan is simplified and it works, you're going to give the guys props, man, who's calling the plays or who's, putting together this game plan. And I think, Sirianni did his thing in this game, man. And Devonta Smith, man, dude, like, that's what you want out of your rookie, man. First-round pick, you trade up to get him, and look, first game, he's showing out.
And Jalen Reagor. Let's not forget Jalen Reagor, because he's another guy who was catching super heat. You know what I'm saying? Especially after
Tough
the way
season.
that the season went, with Justin Jefferson going
Yes, a lot of comparisons.
And then him, like, basically falling flat. But he was hurt a lot. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
he was.
It's good to see him get 6 catches on 6 targets, be a big part of that offense, and I think it's going to help him tremendously to have another athlete on the field like Smith. So it's just, I mean, listen, that's the other thing I want to say before we move on to anything else. The Philadelphia Eagles got a lot of speed on that offensive side of the ball.
We talked about it. That wide receiver core got a lot of speed. Kind of reminds me of what's going on over there in Denver, to keep it real with you.
Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts. I mean, like, listen, that's the thing. It's like, that's the thing about Kansas City, right? With Kansas City, it's always been like, no matter who has the ball in their hands, there's a chance that it could be a 70-yard touchdown. Something like that,
it's Golden State in football.
Yes.
It's the Warriors of football. You get a lot of weapons going. Now, here's the thing. If Steph Curry and Klay Thompson off one night, you bound to lose. So, everyone who was like, I know when the Kansas City Chiefs lost the Super Bowl, the narrative went back to, you need the hog mollies. Forget those guys catching. You need the hog mollies, because they lost one game, right? It happened to Golden State too, and then they came right back, won a championship. So like we can't jump the gun on these things, man. Like, give these players time. And when you're a playmaker, the other team's job is to scheme against you to stop making plays. So when you see a defense X out one player, like how the Dallas Cowboys did to Mike Evans on Thursday night, it shouldn't completely surprise you. We're not just going to keep throwing at him if he's double covered. We're not going to do it, and I think that the Eagles have a good shot to be an explosive offense, to be one of those in the NFC East that might be able to put up the most, the biggest numbers, man, and maybe contend for that best weapons position we talked about on the first episode. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because we didn't even talk about the 2 tight ends who both, I believe, had 3 and 5 catches or 4 and 6 catches on basically the same amount of targets. Like,
Facts. And you remember the play where Jalen Hurts scrambled out of the pocket, man? And then it's easy for him to make the throw down the field. I forget if it was Ertz or if it was the other homie, but he was like right on the sideline. And the pass don't even got to be accurate when you're that wide open. The pass was a little bit short, but it's like, I already scrambled out and beat the pressure. A quarterback who's a pocket passer is not getting out of that. He's not. So we got to give Jalen Hurts his kudos, man. Big props to all the Eagles fans. Y'all should be smiling from ear to ear until y'all got y'all next game. So enjoy that W. I don't know who the Eagles got next week. Let me pull up the schedule one time. I think we got the Eagles schedule up here.
San Francisco.
San Francisco next week, which they played a pretty poor team in the Lions, and we don't know quite what that San Francisco 49ers team is. Are they going to be the team that, was just removed from the Super Bowl just a couple years ago? Or are they going to be that team that struggled? And don't forget, Raheem Mostert out for the year now. Going to be tough for them. So, man, let's we got 2 more games. Wanted to save the 2 big boy games for the end of the show. So get your big boy Pampers ready. We're going to get into these 2 games, but we wanted to take y'all back to a recap of the Fan Fest one time when I was out there just a couple of weeks ago, because we're going to be getting ready to do another style video just like this on Thursday when we go to FedEx Field for the game. We got our seats today. We're going to be sitting in the end zone, section 113, right at the tunnel, bro, right at the tunnel where they're going to be coming out. So I'm bringing a camera. Hopefully we can get some good footage and maybe top this recap you're about to see here right now. So let's go to this commercial break one time. We'll be back with the Giants game. Shout out to the homie LPG getting the crowd hyped there, screaming playoffs, which kind of feels like it might not happen after this game that just went down on Sunday against these Broncos, man. Definitely feeling a little down about this one, man. The Broncos take down the Giants. Giants at home. We lose that game 27-13. This one was a tough one to take, man. Giants were down by 10 pretty much on our last leg. Daniel Jones driving gets down to the red zone, and guess what happens to Burger King hands? He fumbles the ball on 1st and 10. I went back and looked at it. I thought it was second down the whole time I was talking about it the day after. It was 1st and 10. But let's not excuse this defense who had a poor day. Teddy Bridgewater cut up this defense all day, and I told y'all about this when we did our previews, that Teddy Bridgewater and them were going to be running a lot of flood concepts, a lot of 3-level routes, and you saw it in this game. They killed us in the middle of the field with the intermediate routes all day long. Secondary could not make the plays. Our linebackers were struggling in coverage. I'm going to get to some of these numbers about the secondary and the coverage, which it was completely dismal. The only one bright spot in this game that I saw pretty much was Sterling Shepard, who on the day had 7 catches for 113 yards and 1 touchdown, and that is fantastic for a guy like Sterling Shepard. On the other end, Jerry Jeudy did slice up the Giants for 6 catches and 72 yards, but ended up leaving the game late in the second half with an ankle injury. Bless up to that man, because we all thought it was going to be a broken leg or a Dak Prescott situation. With my eyes, I thought it was Logan Ryan who was on the tackle, who was the same person who was tackling Dak Prescott when he broke the leg last season. And Jerry Jeudy comes out. It's just a high ankle sprain. They said it was going to be 6 weeks, I believe, or 6 to 8 weeks. You know how that high ankle sprain goes. Saquon Barkley got back from the high ankle sprain after 4 weeks and continued on with a great season of over 1,000 yards. So shout out to Jerry Jeudy, who had a good game before he got knocked out. Melvin Gordon ended the day with 101 rushing yards on 11 carries, man. And he had that one big run late in the game, which, you know, pretty much just pads those stats amazing on 11 carries. Daniel Jones was the leading rusher for the New York Giants with 6 carries for 27 yards. My font is like 3 over here, so little. I try to fit everything on one page. And Saquon Barkley kind of struggled in his return, but I think we saw some positives. I thought he was hitting the hole pretty aggressive. You know, nothing looked super timid to me except when he was kind of falling to the ground. I felt like he was kind of laying on a bed a bit, you know, trying to make sure nothing was twisting up underneath of him. Decent return for him. I didn't expect too much, even though I did try to hype up Giants fans and say that Saquon Barkley was going to get 100 yards on the day. Didn't work out that day. He got 33 yards on 11 carries, only averaging 3.3 in this game, man. Shout out to All Bright NFL, who a lot of people were tagging in one of my posts where I said, you know, tag me to people who are saying that the Denver Broncos are going to blow out the New York Giants, because I think it's made up. I don't know where they was getting that narrative from. All in all, I'll call this a blowout, though. Even though it was only a 14-point game, I had to give All Bright his props. And tell him that, yeah, you know, you called it. I'll give it to you. I know when to eat crow, as the man Pizzle would say. I swear to God, like late in the third quarter, I was about to hit him with a message like, what happened to that blowout? And then all of a sudden the game got out of control. Daniel Jones with the fumble, man. But, you know, I like what I saw from Daniel Jones on a few plays here. I like the touchdown to Sterling Shepard. I thought that was a fantastic throw and a fantastic play design, which we need to see a little bit more of that from Jason Garrett. I know a lot of people on Twitter and on the internet were upset with the game plan that Jason Garrett brought to the table. But I do think Teddy Bridgewater was overlooked by all content creators. Time of possession, they killed us in this game with back-to-back drives over 8 minutes. The Giants were off the field for a whole hour in real time when you included the halftime. So we could have went into the half up 7-3, but we allowed a touchdown late. Defense falling apart there with just a minute left. They end up taking the lead, going into the locker room 10-7, and we come out. And you know how that goes, man. You know, you allow, oh my God, the beard. I talked about this so much last season. It's killing me. You got to finish the second quarter strong, and you got to finish the fourth quarter strong. We lost to the Philadelphia Eagles with that, with the drop from Evan Ingram. We lost to Dallas like that by allowing them to get a late score in the second quarter last season as well, in that first matchup that we lost. You know, and it's so important that you got to finish these halves. The Giants allowed them to score before the half. You go into the locker room, I'm sure Joe Judge is like giving them the most hype speech, like, we're going to come out here and do all this stuff, you know, and just talking, right? Because that's what Joe Judge seems to do best, is talk, okay? And then you come out there and your defense falls flat and allows an 8-minute, 14-second drive. Your quarterback just standing on the sidelines. Shout out to the homie Pestilence, who came on the Giant Overreaction Week 1, our first time doing that show. We did that on Mondays. That's going to be a regular occurrence now from here on out.
And the link for that is in the description of this video if you guys didn't get a chance to catch that and you want to watch that. It is.
Oh, salute. Appreciate that. And Sunday was plugging that too. Thank you, Sunday, for plugging that one. Today there was a misunderstanding on Twitter because somebody went and snitched and tried to say I was talking about Bobby and that. But if you was really following what was going on, it was a homie on Twitter named Els who actually said, I invited him to come to the podcast because that kind of, I hit up the beard and I said, yo, I need you to create a link for me for this this idea I got called Giant Overreaction. I'm about to go live in 45 minutes. Set it up for me. And it literally stemmed from a conversation on Twitter that was on Bobby's video, which is why I dropped Bobby's name in the video. And Els actually, me and him was going back and forth. I talked about this, y'all. It was getting personal. It was getting crazy. And but shout out to Els. He's a real one. I got to, he's a man because he ate crow for one. And two, he came back to me and he was in the chat of that stream. I made that stream pretty much for him. And then he popped up in the chat, said what he said on Twitter. And then he came on Twitter and he said to me, yo, man, I take it back, man. Your podcast isn't absolute garbage. And when I checked it out, your podcast is actually better than a lot of people's podcasts. So I said, man, you a real one just to do that. Cause that takes guts, man, to just like admit like, you was on some bull. So me and Els kind of chopping it up, keeping it cool now, but there was a misunderstanding about the game on this. But where I saw Daniel Jones struggling was when we got down into the red zone. And the Giants on the day were 1 for 3 in the red zone, okay? And I can just remember this late in the fourth quarter when we got down there was a second down to Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph ran the same route that Kenny Galladay runs. It's just a short little out route, little dig route, right? 5 yards, you cutting out, right? Put the ball up for him to be able to make a catch. The first one to Kyle Rudolph flies 3 yards over his head. And my point about the whole Giant overreaction was this is the reason why we brought these guys in here, because the Giants couldn't get no separation. So you can't get separation. Don't tell me we brought Kyle Rudolph in here to get separation. We brought him in here to catch one-on-one passes in the red zone. This is exactly why we brought him here. Kenny Galladay's the same thing. I'll give Daniel Jones a little bit of a pass on the Kenny Galladay thing, and I'm a person that I formulate my opinion by looking at multiple opinions. I'm a fan of football. I'm not Colin Cowherd up here. I'm not Skip Bayless, or I'm not even an ex-football player, anything like that. So I take opinions and I formulate my own opinions. And looking at Mark Schofield break down Daniel Jones in this game, he pretty much broke it down the exact way I feel about it. Some good things, some bad things. But Daniel Jones, we know this. We know the good things. We're sick and tired of that, yo. Let me go to this little nugget stat I had about Daniel Jones, okay? The crazy thing about the stats in this game, it's pretty much even across the board. We had more drives than them, which is crazy, and they dominated time of possession by 10 minutes. Makes no sense. Daniel Jones, okay? We got to stop giving him the rookie pass. And when I say we, I mean me. Because last season, I was giving Daniel Jones the pass all year long. He going to get it together. It's his first year in the Jason Garrett system, blah, 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 blah. Okay? I'm sick of hearing them saying, we're going to get better. We're going to get better. Oh, I'm going to look at the tape and we're going to get better. We're sick of that, bro. Get better, because right now you're not getting better. In the last 15 games in the NFL, Daniel Jones is 34th in QBR. Bro, that's a 99-cent nugget. It's awful. That's awful. We're talking about our starting quarterback. Nugget stat alert. Shout out to the homie, sir, not in the building one time. To me, it makes no sense. The only difference in this game was red zone play, and the turnover was critical. It came at a critical time. Now, a lot of people want to look back at the Logan Ryan turnover that he forced, which was fantastic play. Giants defense is just back against the wall. Last year, we played a lot of football like that, which was bend, don't break. But yeah, go ahead.
So, because when I was watching that, right, so if he fumbles the ball, but when he recovered it, it looked like he was out of bounds, right? That's what they were reviewing when they were reviewing
Joe Judge, that's one of his plays that he broke down on the show that he does on Giants.com. When he's stripping the ball, look at him. His eyes are looking at the ball as he's pulling it. He gets possession before he even hits the ground. So as soon as he hits, that's good to go. Okay. It wasn't like that one in y'all game that we know that turnover was a little bit sketchy for sure, man. But I think that like the Broncos came out here with the better game plan. I talked about this on our last show about how they were going to eat up the middle of the field and eat us up with the intermediate routes. And Teddy Bridgewater did that. I talked about Teddy Bridgewater being better at stepping up in the pocket, and he looks like he's playing on a confident knee. And that's what it looked like in this game. A lot of question marks, after this game for the Giants. I know a lot of people are thinking fire Garrett. A lot of people are saying trade Saquon Barkley. A lot of people are saying fire everyone. Get rid of Joe Judge, and especially get rid of Dave Gettleman. All the people that have been, saying Dave Gettleman is garbage, this is more proof for them. A lot of people are also saying Nate Solder was garbage. You saw Kyle Pizzle and Bobby going back and forth about that too, and Kyle Pizzle's just like, well, why don't you show the good plays? Because if you look at the touchdown to Sterling Shepard, Nate Solder does a fantastic job. And oh my God, if Kyle Rudolph could have did the same exact block on the reverse to Kadarius Toney gets at least 6-7 yards. Instead, he missed the first layer, and that's why you get blown up in the backfield.
Okay, so I know that's what happened on that play, right? But my question is because that was one of the things I had written down on my notes, because that was the first play after the huge pass interference call, right? Was the reverse?
Which pass interference was it?
Because it was.
Or are you talking about the offsides with the big play?
Yeah, the offsides. Excuse me.
The offsides with the big play to Slayton. Yeah.
Play, yes. So that was the first play after that play, right?
I believe so.
So does that because I know sometimes that upsets me, because that's something that would happen a lot of times in Washington football team games where
yes.
they would get a big play and then they would literally completely flip the game in the field. So get all the way down there, and then you kind of run a play that is relies so much heavily on behind the line of scrimmage action, and then you just kind of lose all that. It's like a momentum killer in a way.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people in hindsight could look at the play and go, oh my God, it's an awful play call. I said that in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. Mm-hmm. I'm like, why do you run that? Everybody knows that play's coming, right? But I think that this has also got to do with another point I wanted to bring up, so I'm glad you said that. When your players aren't mentally the most strong, right? You got to simplify things. I talked about Sirianni, how he built a perfect simplified game plan for Jalen Hurts, right? Maybe that is what Jason Garrett is trying to do with Daniel Jones to limit the turnovers, but it's not working. So people are looking at it in hindsight and they're blaming Jason Garrett. But just go back and look at the play, rewind it a few times, look at everybody. I try to rewind the plays and look at them as much as I can and look at the blocks. You got to look at that play to Kadarius Toney as if it's a run to Saquon Barkley, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right? He's lining up 6 yards, 7 yards deep in the backfield. You hand him the ball. If your tight end on the right gets blown up and you're running it to the right, Saquon Barkley's probably going to lose some yards,
Yeah, for sure.
So I think this is a matter of just trying to simplify the offense for the talent that's out there, because my football coaches used to always tell me this. Sometimes the other team can know what you're doing, and if we're better than you, we're going to just smash you.
Facts.
That's just what it is.
How many times you heard somebody tell somebody, this is the play we about ready to run?
Hey, you told me off air. I'm not going to blast it, but we talked about it with Keenan Allen off air, right? We'll wait till we get to that game to reveal that nugget. I hope I don't forget. But yeah, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, y'all going to do that? We're better than you. Mm-hmm. When Derrick Henry's running the ball, it's not like, oh, the hole's got to be super wide open. I'm going to run you over on 4th and 1. If the Browns got Nick Chubb back there and it's 4th and 1 on the opposing team's 40-yard line and they need a touchdown, they going for it and they're giving it to Chubb. That's the identity of the team. So with this play to Kadarius Toney, for me, it was like, it's a good way to get his feet wet. And all Kyle Rudolph, just go back and look at it, Giants fans. Kyle Rudolph, he's got a 2-layer block on that where he's supposed to shave the first guy and then get to the next layer. He just completely ignored the first block. And you got somebody in the backfield. Pause it right when Toney gets the ball. It looks wide open. Looks like everything's blocked up. The second layer is about to open up. And then, bam, the play gets blown up. And you got Kadarius Toney for a loss.
Big shout out to Lax044 for the $9.99 super chat. Says you had Saquon, Galladay, and Toney, and Rudolph, and the offense was just as bad, if not worse, than last year. The same 4-yard out and stick routes, no shots downfield. Garrett's play calling is too soft.
Yeah, I mean, and like you can have that opinion on this day. I just think that the Giants were very limited in the first half, and I got to put some of this on Joe Judge. When you only get 4 possessions in the first half, and then when you do get to the second half and you just panic, fourth quarter comes around, you're down 2 and 3 scores. You're like, we got to go for it on 4th down every time. So now we were 1 of 1 in the first half in the red zone. You go for it on 4th down twice in the second half, and now we're looking at a 33% conversion rate in the red zone instead of a 100% conversion rate in the red zone. Sometimes you got to just take the 3 points every time, right? So we left about 9 points on the board in this game. We gave away the points right before the half, and then you get the Melvin Gordon, the big run at the end. This game's really closer than it really looks. For me, it's like I can't blame Jason Garrett. Let me say this. He's not my number one reason why we lost this game. The number one reason why we lost this game was the defense. From the jump, they getting cooked. And let me break down some numbers here. Azeez Ojulari had the team worst grade on defense per PFF, 39.9. And he had a sack. So that means outside of that, he's playing like garbage.
And let me just touch on that really quickly, because that play, the Melvin Gordon 70-yard touchdown run, that comes off of the roughing the passer penalty on him.
Yeah, on third down.
Before that.
Yeah, terrible. But those are the things that people not going to remember. What people going to remember is the fumble and the conversions that we don't get in the red zone. But, I just challenge y'all to go look at Mark Schofield's breakdown on Daniel Jones. Mark with a K. It's out there. It's a 9-minute video. It's on my Twitter. Just go look at that and look at how he's breaking it down. He used to be a quarterback for a Division III college. He was telling me today. But, the dude knows the game pretty well. He talks about how Daniel Jones is late. He's late on those out throws. And if there is something that Daniel Jones can't do well, it's throw it outside the hash marks like that. We saw it in the Bucs game on the 2-point conversion last season. Late and off target. On the 4th down one to Kenny Galladay, it's late and it's off target. You're not even giving him a chance. We're talking about a 6'4" wide receiver up against a 5'11" Fuller at cornerback. Put the ball up. Give him a chance. How many times have we seen Mike Evans on the goal line do that same exact stick route? Bung, right out there. Catch the ball. Keenan Allen, all the time. Brady does audibles like that all the time at the line where you get a quick route like that, and it's either a back shoulder fade or a route just like that. So for me, it's like people want to call the offense vanilla or plain or stale or whatever. At the end of the day, when is your quarterback going to make a play? When are we going to stop making excuses for this quarterback? Because there are a lot of people out here with vanilla schemes, probably worse than Jason Garrett. Dak Prescott was doing this in Jason Garrett's system and killing it. And let's not forget, everybody want to say, the offensive line looked great, Yeah, in pass protection, the offensive line looked much improved. But where was the run blocking? Saquon Barkley was getting tackled in the backfield a few times and making people miss in the backfield a few times. Booker's the kind of guy that needs a hole right off the bat for him to hit the hole. He's not getting the holes. So we got to keep it funky with ourselves here, straight up. We couldn't run the ball. You got under 60 yards, I want to say, for the Giants rushing. Let me double check.
Daniel Jones was
60 on the button.
Daniel Jones is the leading rusher.
And we know that story, man. Daniel Jones was the leading rusher in 7 games last season, man. This Coach Borsko, bro, this is the same story. And this is the thing, last year our offense looked very stagnant, right? But we were able to run the rock with Wayne Gallman and Devontae Freeman. We were able to get positive yards. When you can't run the ball, this is where I say Jason Garrett, the game plan was a little funny. They tried to establish the run too late. When you had all that time in the beginning when we had the 2, 3 and outs in the first half, figure out a way to run the ball. But I don't know. Saquon Barkley's coming back off a devastating knee injury. You know what I'm saying? So it's for me, it's just there's a couple of things here that we can't look over. And when I just look at it with my eyes, man, the defense looked awful. And I want to break down some of these numbers in pass coverage, and then we'll get to this super chat from Lax. When you look at the matchups in coverage from all the players on the Giants, let me see where this is at. I had this right here. Peppers was getting cooked. Noah Fant, bro, was cooking Peppers, bro. You're supposed to use pepper to cook. You don't cook. Come on, bro. You can't be getting cooked, man. So Peppers allowed 4 for 4 in coverage for 34 yards. Blake Martinez allowed 4 for 4 for 8 yards. Darnay Holmes, who I thought had a decent game but also missed some tackles, he allowed 2 for 3 for 33 yards. Adoree Jackson allowed 4 for 6 for 31 yards. Logan Ryan allowed 2 for 2 for 26, and Xavier McKinney allowed 2 for 3 for 25. And the most important one, James Bradbury, who probably had the worst game of everyone in our secondary, allowed 6 catches on 7 targets for 65 yards and a touchdown, bro. On him, it was 144.9 passer rating. Bro, this the guy they was talking about as a top 3 corner in the league. He got snubbed on the Pro Bowl, I think, didn't he? Maybe he made the Pro Bowl. I'm not sure. I know Blake Martinez got snubbed on the Pro Bowl. But this dude's supposed to be a lockdown guy. And we played a lot of man. They switched it up this week, and they played a lot of man. That's what we thought they was going to do this year with Adoree Jackson supposedly being a lockdown corner. And I don't know what went wrong on the play that KJ Hamler dropped, the deep throw. I don't know if that was on Adoree Jackson or if that was on the safety at the time, which was Xavier McKinney. Adoree looked like somebody was supposed to be over the top, but, it could also be one of those moments I messed up, and now you're trying to pedal back and get back. And we never will know who that was really on. Joe Judge ain't going to tell you. He's just going to be like, it's a team effort, blah, blah, blah. Talking. Yo, Bobby and them got to get Joe Judge on there on Talking Giants because Joe Judge be talking. That's all he be doing is talking, bro. It's wild to me, man. But yo, take the super chat from Blacks. I'm gonna cool it down just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I thought I was prepared for this because I talked about all this stuff on Monday, but I'm still hot.
Yo, there's so many good clips on here. It's not even just, it's the facial expressions matching the emotions and the words.
I can't wait to see this right here, the freeze frame. Like,
it's so good.
God damn. Yo, I'll be on it. You know me, dog. I will be on that sideline hot with a clipboard. Like, come on.
Man. Big shout out to Lax044 with the $4.99 super chat. Says defense was terrible. They had Bridgewater in the backfield multiple times, but the difference between Shermer and Gertz offense is night and day.
Yeah, I guess so, man. But then, like, look, when you look at these numbers, man, it's just pretty close. That's the thing that's crazy. 7 of 15 on third down for the Broncos, 6 of 12 on third down for the Giants. Passing first down, 17 for the Broncos, 13 for the Giants. We look at total plays, we ran 7 less plays. We had 1 more total drive than them. Yards per play, we were 1 yard less. 255 passing yards to 254 passing yards.
What your face.
Come on, man.
One big difference.
And the static is back. I don't StreamYard. We need to get this together. I don't know what's happening over here with my man, the Beard, but the static is back. I'm hot, bro. This is the kind of loss that the Giants didn't want to see. And maybe if we put up a couple of more points, because Daniel Jones did have the running touchdown late to get it to 13, and let's add those couple of field goals we could have got maybe in the red zone. That's definitely another 6, maybe another 3 lingering out there. Come on, man. 9 on top of the 13. This is a closer game. And then maybe if you don't let Melvin Gordon run up the field, like, I don't know if y'all saw Gilly the Kid, but shout out to $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. He was at the game with who does Deion Sanders coach again? Jackson State, I believe.
Yes.
So he's at the game, right? And he's on the sidelines, and he's just like a cheerleader pretty much. But like when one of the players was breaking a long run for like 80 yards, he ran all the way down the sidelines with him, like doing like this. Like, yeah, let's go, running with him. And like he was like, I'm gonna make that a thing, But then Deion was like, yo, you can't be on the sidelines no more. So we can't let Melvin Gordon be running down the field like Gilly. Straight up, man. The game could have been a lot closer. Defense, it starts with the defense. Second, it starts with the quarterback. Don't turn the ball over when we're in the red zone down 10. That's gonna be 7 or 3. It really don't make no sense for me, man. And the Giants now going in on Thursday, they gotta make an adjustment. Fans are going to be impatient here. Don't come out here and run the ball for 60 yards again. Don't come out here and run the ball for 60 yards again. Shout out to Kenny Galladay. I think he did what he could do with the limited amount of opportunities that he had. I think he had 5 targets. He had 4 catches, and every catch, like I told y'all about Kenny Galladay, contested. That's why we brought these players in here, to make those kind of plays. Daniel, you ain't got something open, throw that thing up to Kenny Galladay. It's a 50-50 ball. He's a 50-50 wide receiver because he's not going to allow the cornerback to intercept it. You might get an incomplete pass, but he damn sure ain't going to Evan Ingram you. Damn sure.
Yeah. And listen, so my big thing is I talked to Awthentik about this briefly, was that
it's getting tough over there. I'm barely hearing you tough over there. Close out anything you can close out if you can. In your toolbar, because it's completely jacked up at the moment. I think I broke it with how hot I am over here about these Giants.
Am I still going? Is it still?
Yes, it's like the worst it's been for real.
Okay.
Yo, Lucas says I love these authentic rants. Maybe open up live. I don't know if you got to minimize. Maybe open up live. Up your sample rate a little bit higher in live. Maybe another 1,000. But it's definitely as worse as it's been. But yeah, man, Teddy Bridgewater, I didn't talk enough about his numbers. While you're getting that situated over there, let me give you a little bit about Teddy Bridgewater's numbers. 28 of 36 for 264 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was just super efficient. And this is the kind of quarterback that I think, we know that Teddy Bridgewater is. A lot of people were sleeping on Teddy, man. Me and Tainer had a lot of conversations about the Teddy Bridgewater thing. And we, both of us thought that Teddy Bridgewater couldn't come out here and blow us out. But definitely came out here and put up some massive numbers, man. The one thing that I think that we can give kudos to Joe Judge for is they coached a disciplined game as far as the penalties go. 4 penalties for 48 yards, but it's about when they happened. You talked about the Azeez Ojulari penalty on third down, which the Broncos just extended every drive. 4th and 7. They were 3 for 3 on 4th down. And the 4th and 7 being the biggest one that was like right around the 50-yard line. Just a tough game for the Giants, man. And I think that fans have a right to be mad because this game, did look a lot like last season. Just like every drive felt extra important. Daniel Jones, it just seemed like he couldn't make any mistakes out there. We had to convert on every drive. And I think that, that's because of the not only the field position, but the time of possession in the game, man. They just dominated us with the time of possession straight up. And there you go. I think you're good.
Good?
Yeah, we're good. Yep.
All right. So Daniel Jones, the one thing I wanted to say before my mic decided it didn't want me to talk about the Giants was
you blame me. We hot. We peaking.
It's not like I don't necessarily think that, the Jason Garrett blame with the Manila offense is what a lot of people are saying, right? To me, it's the biggest issue is the pace of play in general for the Giants. When I was watching the game and I was watching the highlights back, to me, it's just everything seems slow. And when I see Daniel Jones get into that rhythm in his 2-minute
don't nobody
drill,
say that rhythm like you say that rhythm.
That's my man. Let Daniel Jones get his rhythm. Because it's just when he's in that 2-minute drill, when he's got to make those passes, he doesn't get time to think, and he's just going, no huddle offense. I used to say this a lot of times about Dwayne Haskins. When I was saying that Dwayne Haskins, sometimes it's like if you give him too much time to think, he's overthinking, and then a lot of times that causes the quarterback not to look or feel comfortable in the pocket. Which is when you see Daniel Jones start to do this little thing with his feet like this, because he's so used to that pressure coming, from the outsides and from the
which
inside,
sometimes can be a good thing if you're in rhythm.
Sure.
You see Matthew Stafford does that little pity pat thing and then he gets rid of the ball. He uses it to buy him some time. But I agree with you. And Pest was talking about that when he came on the show too. He was saying, look at Daniel Jones in the first half. He was so much more comfortable. He was 10 of 13 and he had 100 yards in the first half. But that's probably because, and this was speculation from Pest, he was saying that, the beginning of the game plan is scripted. So when they go into the game first quarter, Daniel Jones kind of knows where he's going with things. You get to the second half adjustments, and I'm glad you brought that up. Jason Garrett did not adjust well in the second half. Joe Judge threw a penalty flag on a touchdown play. That was crazy. And then his explanation in the press conference was ridiculous. He was saying he was trying to get the referee's attention. Bro, come on, bro. You can't do that as a head coach. You're costing us penalties now. There was only 4 of them. Your penalty and the penalty on Aziz are big main penalties,
And you lose a timeout in the beginning.
In the midst of that. Yeah. And then you're going for it every 4th down in the 4th quarter. And we can't excuse Patrick Graham. I talked about this on the Monday show. Patrick Graham, when it's time to adjust, when he's getting beat at halftime, is awful. Look at the games from last year with the 49ers. Look at the game with the Browns. Look at the game with the Ravens. He cannot adjust at halftime. But he is normally good at adjusting when he gets some time off after the game, which scares me because we only got a couple days. We're 2 days away from playing you guys now. So it's a short week. He's got to get on it. Not much tape on Heineke, but I think we know what we're going to get out of Heineke. Yeah. So I think he can game plan for this the right way. And I think we got the personnel to do it, for sure. But it's the second half adjustments were terrible as a coaching staff. Let's stop excusing Joe Judge. Come on, that man be talking. He got, how you got a business tone, you go to the interview and you got a tone, or I'll make it even better for you. I brought this up. When you're talking on the phone with your mama, you be like, yeah, I'm here, I'm just chilling. You get with the homies, you be like, bro, I'll slap the hell out of you. You know what I'm saying? 2 totally different energies. 2 totally different energies. And Joe Judge is going to the press conference we're gonna get back to the drawing board. I gotta look at the tape. Man, stop giving us these vanilla answers, bro. We need some results, man. It's about time. This is the 2nd year in this system, 2nd year with this whole staff, and the 3rd year for Daniel Jones, man. I'm sick of the rookie baby and stuff, man. First day of school, here you go. Take your backpack. Here's your lunch. Nah, man. Go to 6th grade and get it done, man. You know what I'm saying, bro? Hey, and matter of fact, I'm not dropping you off. I'm not dropping you off at school in the front. Get on the bus, man. Come on, dog.
I'm not picking you up either.
Yeah, you catching the bus back or you walking back home. You remember how it was for us. Come on, man. You remember how it was for us, bro. You know what it is, man.
Activity bus.
Yeah, you know what it is, man. Awthentik in the beard. Left side. We ain't getting one of those yet.
Side.
Put some biceps in the chat, man, if you're trying to see our New York Giants get this W against the Washington football team on Thursday. And if you Washington football, I got you, brother. I got you. And if you a Washington football team fan, let's see some biceps in the chat as well for your Washington football team. You know, we need some blue biceps and some burgundy biceps or something because we had to do that.
That would be awesome. We're going to make one of those. Maybe we should make like a 25-cent membership thing. So, like, you know, it doesn't cost like.
Oh, yeah. Like it's really easy for. Yeah.
We can get people some cool emojis, some beards, and some biceps colors.
I like it. We're looking into that. Like that. I was going to say tonight, but that's a lie. We got a big week coming up with the game on Thursday.
My shoulder, though, my you know, speaking of school and biceps and football.
Yeah.
My old football injury has been like tweaking a little bit today. I don't know.
Oh yeah, didn't you like tear your rotator cuff or something back in the day?
No, so it was against Kennedy, and so for those of you that don't know, I mentioned this I think last episode. I was a world class tight end, but I also played middle linebacker as well. So I went to go to tackle somebody, and my hand got caught inside the shoulder pad, and it went and
so you was basically trying to do a horse collar tackle.
Yeah, but back in the day, there was no such thing as a horse collar tackle.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so my tendons on my shoulder capsule got torn off my shoulder capsule, so they had to stick a heat probe in this arm to shrink my shoulder capsule so my tendons could wrap back around it. I did 8 months of physical therapy after that. That's when I got to meet James Brown, the old the broadcaster guy for CBS now.
I met James Brown in person at the National Historical Society in DC when I used to do audio over there. He's a funny dude, yo. He be getting the powder before he go on air too. He be getting a little. I was like, oh, you really do this TV stuff.
And that's when Coach Wyatt, who played for your New York Giants, was like, hey,
Kerwin Wyatt, right?
Yeah,
that's his first name.
He was like, I need Kervin
Wyatt, yeah.
Coach Wyatt, you know,
Coach
he was
Wyatt.
Like, he was like, you know, I've been trying to get in touch with JB. You know, can you talk to him? Let him know that, you know, Kervin's trying to. Get in touch with
let me hit him up.
I'm trying to get some old film, you know, and I'm like, yeah, sure, man, no problem. So like next time I was at physical therapy, I'm sitting down with James Brown. And I'm chatting it up with him, and I'm like, Kervin Wyatt, and he's like, oh yeah, I know him. And then I was like, well, he's my football coach, and he says he's trying to get in contact with you. So James Brown gives me his number. This is like, you know, before.
He literally. This is a nice humble flex right here. I like this.
So he gives me his phone number on a yellow like lawyer piece of paper, and he just doesn't write his name, like he autographs it underneath of his phone number. I'm like, dude, I'm not asking for your autograph. My football coach is just trying to get some.
You should have got them scissors out, you know, clip the autograph, get that jump, put that somewhere.
That's what they call a cut signature.
yeah, that's what you should have did. That's what's up, though, man. Shout out to Coach Wyatt one time, man. But, I mean, I could go on and on about this Giants game forever. I told Pest, man, it could be like each segment. I could talk 2 hours about it, man. It was just like struggle to watch, man. You know, you go from being like so hype waiting for the game. I had so many like jitters and butterflies during the 1 o'clock games. And like I was telling my girl, I was like, yo, you hear how much I'm screaming down here during the 1 o'clock games. Wait till we get to the Giants game. And it was just like, yo, I was jumping. I was doing all kind of stuff. It was tough, man. It was tough, man. But I think we can put a wrap on that game. And I think it's time to move forward, you know, as a New York Giants fan base. You know, teams are going to lose games, man. We lost the first one. There's a lot of teams that lost games week 1 that didn't expect to lose. The Buffalo Bills being one of them. The Packers being another. You know, I lost the fantasy game by 4 points because Aaron Rodgers gave me 1.3. That might have never happened in the history of Aaron Rodgers.
The way you just said that might have never happened.
Might have never happened. I love when a might have never. That's like the definitely possible.
That's a good Tim one. That's a Timism. Talking like a beard over there.
For sure, man. For sure. So let's move on to this. This is an important one too, man. This Washington football team game against the Chargers, which y'all didn't look that good either. But you know, y'all did a little something in this game. And you know how I do. We got to queue up at least something to enter this one right here. We appreciate that, Stephen Lilly.
10 pounds. Hiya, boys. I stuck up for DJ last year. Not now. He is not a smart quarterback. Don't slide. Don't throw. Smart stare downs. His target, so definitely knows with a rock going. Pocket awareness sucks. He had full weapons.
Facts. He had full weapons, and I was kind of copping for Daniel Jones on the Hub stream, saying that if you want to expect the big plays out of Daniel Jones, like you saw against the Eagles for the 28-yard run for a touchdown, then sliding is not a good thing. I like how he tried to put two hands on the ball, but I'm reneging that statement. I'm taking that one back, man. 1st and 10. Get your ass on the ground, boy. Slide. Learn how to slide. And I looked at Daniel Jones' high school tape, bro. He was trucking people in high school, and I think that's why he kind of does that and runs really physical like that. You know what I'm saying? But he's got to get that out of his repertoire because, most importantly, you just can't turn the ball over. Shout out to Rex Ryan, who said, I'm done with Daniel Jones. And Daniel Jones was anointed his son on that show. He said, that's my son, a couple of weeks ago. Saw him fumble today, and he said, I'm abandoning him. Child neglect. We're leaving Daniel Jones at the roller skating rink. Shout out to Miss Kelly, my Dukes, one time in the building. But man, in this Chargers, you like that, right? Chargers at Washington football team game. The Washington football team took the L in this one, which seemed to be a close game early, but they ended up losing this one 20-16 by 4 points. Ended up losing their starting $10 million quarterback, Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was 3 of 6 for 13 yards before he got knocked out of the game with a hip injury that I can't pronounce. Got sacked one time. They say that he's They say that he's out for 6 to 8 weeks. I wrote something else down here that I can't even read. It's my own handwriting. But this was a difficult one, man, and I think that this one was it kind of like your chances were dwindling there, and then the fumble from Antonio Gibson was huge, I want to say, in the third quarter. Oh, my God, Joseph Balby in the building, one-time Giants Nation, and shout out to Terry McLaurin. That catch was fantastic. I tweeted right at Nick Wright, at Get Nick Wright, and I said, that's a number 1 wide receiver right there. Don't nobody do it like the boy Terry McLaurin, man. Super scary when it comes to running these routes. Justin Herbert, man, he had a pretty decent day out here as well. This font is so little. He was 31 of 47 for 337 big ones, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And, he struggled in the red zone, and we'll get into that a little bit. He struggled in the red zone, which is one of the main factors why I think the Washington football team hung around in this game. Now, I'm going to start this off real quick with just one question for the Beard. Did y'all waste $10 million on the man Fitzpatrick, who got hurt in the second quarter, ruled out for the rest of the game, and will not be back for at least 6 to 8 weeks? We got Taylor Heineke to get the start on Thursday.
No, I don't think we. Well, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, I guess obviously you wasted $10,000. I mean, $10,000.
I'm looking at
the Hub's $10 super chat. Shout out to the Hub. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Says y'all already know I blame everyone for this loss. Disappointed in the defense. Don't like our offense or use of Galladay, but DJ is harder to cheer for. Stop the rookie mistakes. Throw to your 50-50 guy. I could almost read that and replace the Giants players' names with some of the Washington team names, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, you could say you wasted the money because he's hurt. But in my opinion, no, you can't say that you wasted the money. If he would have gone out and thrown 7 interceptions in the first game, then yeah, you wasted the money, right? But we never got to see what the investment was really. I mean, you said it. How many passes did he throw? 6?
He was 3 for 6. Yeah. And the reason why I ask you about the money being wasted is I know it wasn't that many throws, wasn't that many dropbacks, but from what I saw from him, man, he did not look like the same quarterback that we saw in Miami. He was very statuesque in the pocket.
Yeah, and listen, one of the biggest problems for this Washington football team on Sunday was the offensive line. I mean, the offensive line was horrible. And you want to talk about the off-season investments, this is the big thing. You bring in Fitzpatrick, right? You bring in, Curtis Samuel, and then you let Morgan Moses walk, okay? You draft the young tackle. You decide you're going to go with the young tackle. You starting young on the defensive side. It's almost like, are we playing to win? Are we playing to see what the future is? This is that Ron Rivera psychoanalysis that you just don't really understand what he's
What was your thoughts on the Morgan Moses, not bringing him back? Were you upset about that?
I wasn't necessarily upset about it, right? But to me, it was Morgan Moses wasn't great. He wasn't, awful. But it's if you're in this situation where it's okay, you're going to bring in Ryan Fitzpatrick, you best to have that offensive line figured out.
Yeah.
And listen, so Cosme was he played really well for the run blocking, and we talked about this. Offensive linemen love to run block.
Oh yeah, they love it. They love it. Shout out to Diggy in the chat one time too, bro. What's up, fam?
He was actually the 4th highest rated tackle in the run block. But you want to know where he? Yeah, but you want to know where he was in pass blocking?
Let's go 36th.
Okay, there's 64 tackles. So
he
now
was
that you
58th.
He was 63rd.
Oh my god.
He was the second
worst
tackle blocking on passing plays. So I mean that, and you called it. We talked about it. Bosa was, I mean, it was the first play of the game, the second play of the game. I mean, Bosa was in there early
and often.
Early and often. So it's like Ryan Fitzpatrick did, and then they're like, oh well, he's not targeting McLaurin or he's not targeting Logan Thomas, and it's like, you gotta allow these. They can't even finish their routes before the pressure's already on Fitzpatrick. So it's like, from a fan's perspective, it's so easy to say things like that, right? Like, oh, well, the offense opened up so much more when Taylor Heineke got in. That's because Taylor Heineke could escape a little bit better, a lot of bit better.
It's kind of like what we talked about with Jalen Hurts, man. You can extend those plays, and I think that's why people want the mobile quarterbacks. A lot of people pumped the brakes this year about mobile quarterbacks, but I'd say like 2 years ago, they were like, yo, once Lamar Jackson came in the league, got MVP, people were like, yo, you need a mobile quarterback. I remember people talking about that with Daniel Jones early on. Like, he's got to be mobile. And then Eli in his last year in 2018, people were like, yeah, the game changed on him, And then now we're kind of regressing back to like, oh, we need pocket passers. But I think if you got a little bit of both, like Taylor Heineke, when the offensive line is like not good, it really works out for you. But look at the Chargers. They did some upgrades on the offensive line in the draft. And Herbert,
new offensive line.
He's chilling. He doesn't have to run or do anything crazy. He can just step and throw.
And see, this is the thing too, is that like, so Justin Herbert, the first thing on my page of notes is Justin Herbert is really good.
He's the real deal.
Really good.
Talk about an MVP candidate for real. Like, that dude is a baller, and he's got the weapons.
He's got the weapons too, and it's about timing. So I saw Hub in the chat asked about the Washington secondary.
I'm glad you got to that. I wanted to get to that.
And so I think that is. All right, so there's a lot of changes going on in that secondary right now. I mean, William Jackson had the interception. He played pretty well. I thought Cam Curl was probably one of the better players in the secondary, but everybody else, Kendall Fuller was getting toasted. He was just getting killed out there.
Was Landon Collins in this game?
Landon Collins played some.
God, he was quiet.
Let me tell you, they were rotating. Everything was weird, and we talked about this. The personnel seemed off. The way that they were bringing people in, the way they were taking people off. Like, Chase Young wasn't on the field for like an extended period of time during one of the key drives for the Chargers.
Yeah.
Montez Sweat only played like, I think it was like 53 snaps, and there's some really weird things going on with Jack Del Rio.
Montez Sweat is being overlooked a little bit because Chase Young is so good. Montez Sweat came into the league with 7 sacks, and I want to say his second season upped it to 11 last year. He had more sacks than Chase Young, so you're looking at a fantastic 2 years.
It was huge for him when them bringing in Chase Young. Like, that really helped Montez Sweat.
Oh, my God. Somebody said that, I forget how they worded this on Twitter, man. I'm going to butcher this. But they were like, pretty much like edge rusher is a 2-side job. You can't just have the one good edge rusher. You need to have 2 good edge rushers, and we saw that as the Giants going up against the Denver Broncos. Even though Bradley Chubb wasn't in the game, they were still effective. And I think that's why Andrew Thomas probably had a good game. I did see somebody talking about they were at the game, and Andrew Thomas had a good game. That's actually Lax who was saying that. And that's probably why, and that helped us stay in the game because Daniel Jones was not like running for his life. He had a lot of time in the pocket in that game. But, with y'all, it's like, you need the 2 edge rushers. They work hand in hand, and then when you got the 2 guys in the interior of the defense doing their job, you can really get some pressure on the quarterback. Didn't happen in this game like that, but that's the game plan for Washington for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of people were upset, and obviously you want to talk about overreaction. I heard people going at Chase Young's throat, talking about
that last year. He's overrated.
He's overrated, and this and that, and it's just like, listen, the way that Chargers offense was set up so that they didn't have to worry about the pass rush. Justin Herbert was getting rid of the ball 1.5 seconds, 1.8 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was such a timing thing that there was literally no time for the defensive front to get pressure on Justin Herbert because he was getting rid of the ball so quick. And at that point in time, as a defensive coordinator, when you realize, okay, this is all timing. They're doing all timing. This is what their offense is scheming so that they can avoid the rush. And you see the one time where they didn't, have the time, what happened? Montez Sweat got to Justin Herbert, and then it was a fumble and touchback in the end zone. But we all know that it was not a fumble, and that was a bad call. So we definitely got bailed out in that situation.
Yeah, and I forget the referee who's like in the booth. His name is Gene something. He even said, yeah, if I'm out there on the field, that's an incomplete pass. And it was the most like stern, like he was so upset with the referees that were on the field. Like he said that, the announcers like almost didn't respond, and they just moved on. It was just like terrible call.
It was awful. So as a defensive coordinator, you need to do something to disrupt the timing.
Yeah.
That was the change that was never made.
And briefly about that play, they were on the 30-yard line right outside of the red zone. So you can almost look at that like a red zone attempt. So the Chargers were really 2 of 7 in the red zone instead of 2 of 6.
And then, so those are the things that I thought were, personnel problems with the defense, and that was coaching issues with the defense. But players have to be held accountable too. The stat line of, you guys should know by now, if you watch Awthentik and the Beard, the most important thing to me, offensively and defensively, is third downs. Okay,
big facts.
The stat line
and it was ugly
on this third downs in the Washington football Chargers game is absolutely just okay.
Break it down for them.
As a team, the Chargers were 14 of 19 on third down.
And we thought we got torched on third down.
That is horrible.
In return, Washington football team was 3 for 10.
You can't win a football game like that. But
no
listen,
way.
Not even just that, but look how bad it was on third down. Justin Herbert was 13 of 16, 160 yards, 11 first downs,
Nugget
and a
alert.
touchdown on third downs.
Ridiculous. And y'all lost by 4 points. That's what's crazy because they were so terrible in the red zone.
Terrible. Like the defense for a majority of the game was bend don't break.
Yeah.
But there was
which is not y'all normal style. That's New York Giants defense for real. Y'all normally stop teams outright and y'all are putting pressure on the quarterback. So I think y'all got. No, I'm not gonna say y'all got lucky, but y'all were very fortunate to be able to be in this game after playing with that style of bend don't break against a team that has a lot of weapons, especially a quarterback.
And you want to talk about the time of possession, and not even just time of possession. Let's just talk about the total number of plays, because I do this.
That was a good one too. You shocked me with this.
It's crazy. So the Chargers ran a total of 78 plays. The Washington football team ran 49 plays.
Both teams had 9 drives apiece too. So that goes to show you how the Washington football team could not sustain drives, and we, like, as a Giants fan, that's what we were talking about in our game. We had the 2 3 and outs, but like when you look at that, 49 plays on 9 drives in comparison to 78 plays on 9 drives, I mean, yeah, they were converting on third down, which I don't know if you got any more nuggets to throw them. It's going to bring me to a next point that we got to get to about this game.
Listen, there's the 4-piece nugget has been eaten. There's no more sweet and sour sauce. It's empty. The foil
no more barbecue.
No barbecue. The foil from the sauce is stuck to the inside of the nugget box.
We need to bring this joint up every time we get the nugget stat.
So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 4th down play.
Yes.
Okay. So Washington is what, 4th and 7, I want to say, on the Chargers 40-ish yard line.
Yeah, right around midfield.
And there's 6 minutes and 50 seconds left. Well, when they started the 4th down, it was closer to 7 minutes and some change, right? So there's a couple of things that's really bad about this, all right? So the big thing is, okay, do you go for it or do you punt it, right? And that's where the real debate is going to go. But
I want to see what the chat is going to say on this one. What was y'all thoughts on this one? You're down by 4 points. There's 7 minutes left in the game. You're right around midfield. You got 4th and 7. You're the Washington football team. Do you go for it or do you punt it and rely on the defense? I'm just curious to know what the chat would have done, but go ahead.
And so they elect to punt it, which isn't even let's say that you're on the side of going for it there, right? And you're upset that they're punting it. That's not even the worst part about it. The worst part about it is that they elected to let the clock run down
before they punted
the ball.
Oh my God, these NFL coaches, bro.
Like that right there.
I know it's tough. I know it's tough.
That kills me right there. So now am I on the side of going for it? Or am I on the side of not going for it? I would have been happy either way, right? Like I'm not going to hold him accountable for not going for it or hold him accountable for going for it, right? Because I understand both sides of the story here.
Yep.
But, because you're supposed to be a defensive team, right? And that's what you're supposed to that's going to be what wins you a game like this.
Yeah, but I feel you got to die on the identity of your team.
But your defense, to me, you have to – sometimes you got to swallow your pride and look at the big picture of the game. The big picture of the game is that you 14 of 19 on third down.
Truth, and so then that came back to bite them. But here's the other stat you might want to look at too is that you count the fumble. They were 2 for 7 in the red zone, y'all, down by 4. So even if you stopped them to a field goal, 7 minutes left in the game, you figure that your offense would get the ball back and at least be able to drive down and score a touchdown and maybe try to do a riverboat run and go for 2 like he did against my Giants last year and lose the game, right?
So it's personally in this game, the way that this game was going and the narrative on third down, I can't trust my defense to stop them on third down for 53 minutes.
Anything that splits the room is legitimate too. And when asking the chat here, 2 of them said go for it. 2 of them said they would have punted.
In any other circumstance, like if Washington's defense was playing well, right, throughout that game, and we're in that situation where we're down and there's 7 minutes left, I mean, no questions about it. I'm punting the ball, right? Like it seems like the logical choice to do to punt the ball, right? You have the number 1 possible defense on paper in the entire National Football League.
Yep, and you got the 3 points to protect you a little bit too,
Yeah, so it's like okay, but I mean, if you can't stop them the entire game, you got to go for it in that situation.
Shout out Derek Allison one time, man.
In the building.
High school alum in the building one time, yo. Our 20th is on Saturday. I don't know if you was class of 01. But yeah, I feel you, man. And he's a Washington football team fan too. So I think it's a coin flip on it. I just think that if you do go for it there and you don't get it, it's 7, right? It wasn't like 3, 7.
Yep, that's another.
If you're Teddy Bridgewater in the Denver Broncos, you can easily pick that up.
I do have 4th and 7 play in Big Red under the Giants and Denver.
Yeah, and then the crazy part is when y'all punted it, when Herbert gets the ball back, he converts on third down twice. Again, torching y'all. He converted on a 3rd and 16. That is like like, come on, dog. 3rd and 16, and then he converts on a 3rd and 7 with 3 minutes left in the game, and it's like, yeah, game over. I didn't finish watching that game. I didn't know that they ended up just draining the clock and then winning the game 20-16, which in return makes it look closer. It makes it look closer than the game actually was, because maybe they scored there, and then that's really what it looked like, was a 2-score game. But I think that's really
Keenan
tough.
Allen, the quote.
Yeah, the quote. Got to go over that.
Keenan Allen told Chase Young, he said, look, if you keep going man to man, it's going to be good night. Game over.
I love Keenan Allen.
And what happened? Keenan Allen torched them that entire 6 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
Listen, it was so bad that they literally just went down the field. No problems.
Easy.
Washington calling timeouts, 2-minute warning.
All that.
They could have, and they ended up kneeling in like the 10-yard line.
For us, we had the 8-minute drive to end the half from the Broncos against us, and then the 8-minute drive to start the half, right? For y'all had the pretty much 8-minute drive to end the game. You know how terrible that must be, sitting on the sideline? You're Taylor Heineke trying to get your first win, and you can't even get back on a defense that's supposed to be maybe the best defense in the NFL, according to all these talking heads on the ESPN and FS1. Everybody is saying Washington has a great defense. What I've been saying? What have I been saying all year? good defense, maybe a little bit overhyped. There's no way that pass defense is top 5. There's no way. And they were number 1 all last year, except up until the last week. The Rams just took over just a little bit over Washington football team as the number 1 pass defense. So for me, it's like the Giants and Washington, both these defenses, I don't know if they're overhyped, but they didn't play up to the name that, they didn't play up to the reputation. Let's put it like that.
And to be honest with you, I think it's safe to say that they got outcoached.
And what you think about this? Derek Allison says, "Talk to me, Beard. Our rookie corner got abused."
Yeah, and that's the thing is that like it looks like he got abused. It looks like everybody got abused. I mean, the linebackers on the defense, which is one of our biggest holes.
Sports influencer in the building one time. What's up, fam? You all good? You all good? No sorries.
They got exposed. You know what I'm saying? Because Cole Holcomb was one of the leading tacklers in the entire National Football League, right? But Bostic and Holcomb on pass, they're getting torched.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem. But as far as the rookie corner, I mean, they all look like they got abused because they weren't put in a position to succeed.
That's not it.
What is it?
This defense is banking on pressure. They didn't get pressure.
Yeah. Okay, but listen. You can't get pressure if the quarterback's getting rid of the ball off of timing routes in under 2 seconds, right? So at that point, you need to rely on the secondary to disrupt the timing of the receivers running the routes and the quarterback to allow their defensive front to get to the quarterback.
To get there.
You see
and you got like on the defensive front, you got to get your hands up. When a quarterback's just bang, catching it, throwing it, you got to get them hands up. Nick Bosa. What's my man in Pittsburgh? TJ Watt. Remember the interception he got against Daniel Jones last season? Just jumped up, snagged it. You got to get those kind of pressures as a defender. You also got to adjust too. But I 100% hear you on that too, though.
I never even thought about that. That is actually a really good point because it's like adjust and adapt. Okay, if you can't get to the quarterback, you got to do something to disrupt the quarterback. Hands up is a thing. So I mean, it's little. And
Chase Young and Montez Sweat are built. They're built for that. They're taller, stronger, long arms. Those kind of edge rushers that should be able to do that. What I'm trying to see what his average yard per attempt was.
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I mean, yards per pass was 6.8, which is just under like what NFL like minimum is for real. People usually around 8, 9, 7, 8, 9 for the most part. 10 is like incredible if you ever get there.
A lot of deep balls.
It wasn't.
It was just methodical. I don't know.
And 5.4 yards per play. Y'all had 5.3 yards per play, 6 yards per pass, but the difference is the amount of plays they got to run.
And we 78 didn't even to 49. Talk about it. So I'm gonna end on this note is that Antonio Gibson was probably the best player for the Washington football team on the field the entire stretch of the game. And unfortunately, he coughed the ball up right after we got that interception. The biggest play of the game, pretty much, followed by the biggest play of the game.
Yeah, super letdown.
Gibson fumbling. And he knew what he did wrong. He went up, and when he went up, he didn't have the ball high and tight, and it got knocked out. It fumbled. And that turned into the points that gave the Chargers the lead. And then from there, there's nothing we could do. We couldn't. That's the other thing, too, is everybody talk about Heinicke got the offense is moving and rolling and this and that. But, like, he had the ball again, and there was no moving and no rolling. Yeah,
and I mean, 11 completions for 122 yards and a touchdown is not fantastic. He was 11 for 15,
And how many of those yards came on 2 passes? The touchdown to Logan Thomas and then the play to Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, and you guys failed to get McKissick involved in the passing game. Where was he at?
He didn't play much at all.
Yeah, he didn't play much at all. I saw Patterson got on the field for a couple carries. I was glad to see that because he was a bull in the preseason. He deserved some playing time as well. Interesting game, man. I mean, this one was just like y'all were right there, and I think that the deciding factor that really took y'all out of the game was the fumble from Antonio Gibson. Let all the air out of the building. Kind of reminds me of the New York Giants with Daniel Jones and the fumble, man. It's just like when you fumble is very important, man. And like
the worst part.
It's so bad. Like fumble at the beginning of the game, or like I mean, you got to look at in our game, the Denver Broncos fumbled in the red zone too, but it didn't hurt them as much because the field position, we were on our own 3-yard line. And people were thinking that Jason Garrett was going to climb us out of that 3-yard line without a real running game. Come on, man. That's not happening. They know we're trying to pass to get out of that, and it's not happening. It's not working. I think that the Giants in our game, we actually put a little bit too much emphasis on stopping the run, which we did a good job of. So kudos to Pat Graham on that. But with Washington, man, it's a tough L because it's one that you're looking at like we could have walked away with a W in an ugly game where we pretty much got outplayed. Time of possession, we lost. We also had 2 turnovers on them, which that should have led to something. The referees gave you one, but it's still 2 turnovers. Didn't get to capitalize on them, man. And look, we got Washington and we got the New York Giants at the bottom of the division. It makes no sense for me. I thought that these 2 teams might be at the top of the division after week 1. Who knows? I did pick us to lose to the Denver Broncos on Thursday and flip-flopped on the parlay on Sunday, which, oh my God, that was a bad idea.
I was writing down our records, and I was like, I don't know what I should write down Awthentik's record to be. Should it be?
Yeah.
Is it 2-2? I mean, is it 3-1 or is it 4-0? Are we going off of our Thursday picks?
It would have been 4-0 off the Thursday picks. Go with the Thursday picks. Go with the Thursday picks,
we'll
man.
Go with the Thursday picks for the NFC East standings for us for the year.
Yeah, you know how the parlay be, man. I got this horn over here, and it does something to my mental. On Sunday mornings, trying to amp myself up. Y'all make sure y'all tune into us on Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. for the parlay. We go over a lot of fantasy stuff, real laid back, a lot of betting around the league as well, man. It's a really fun show. We got Mondays now with the Giant Overreaction. And we also got Tuesdays that we do and Thursdays. Tuesdays being our recaps, Thursdays being our previews. I don't know what we're going to do this week as far as the previews go. You guys might get an impromptu preview show maybe tomorrow, or you might get one early Thursday, maybe morning-ish, afternoon-ish. You know, the way my schedule is set up, I don't be up too early in the morning. So maybe some around noon if we do decide to push it back to Thursday. We're going to be at the tailgate, Green Lot E. On Thursday, we're sitting in section 113 in the end zone. It's going to be turned up. I cannot wait to get to that game. Anybody that's going to be at the game, feel free to pull up to Green Lot E. We're going to be doing some dogs, some burgers, some chips, some stuff like that. You know, we're going to bring the licks, the beer, all that good stuff. It's going to be a fantastic time. This is probably like year 11 or year 12 or something crazy for our tailgate. We've been going constantly. Yeah. And also, it's 8:45 right now at 9 o'clock. I want y'all to check out the beard. He's going to be making an appearance. Ooh, shout out to my homie Robert L in the building one time.
Good evening, brothers. Go Chiefs. Shout out to Robert, who is
great comeback. Great comeback for y'all against the Browns, man. Somebody, I picked the Chiefs to win, and somebody was on Twitter like, hey, man, told you about the Browns. And I was like, hey, pump the brakes, young, and the game's not over yet. And then you see Patrick Mahomes do what Patrick Mahomes does with his boy Tariq Hill, and they get the W, man. So shout out to you, bro. That was an awesome victory for y'all.
I got to give a big shout out to Israel, who is Josie's little cousin. So shout out to Israel.
Shout out Israel in the building one time. I like that. Like, Israel is real. Are you authentic? I think so. We're not going to keep it optimistic. We're not going to keep it pessimistic, but we're going to keep it authentic and be realistic. You know what it is one time, man. Left side.
Strong side.
We in the building one time, man. Hey, we appreciate everybody pulling up in the chat today, man. We have 50 plus pretty much the whole time, man. We appreciate y'all being here. Just watching the growth of this channel, man, is awesome. And I don't want it to get too crazy. Just remember, y'all the day ones. Everybody that's in the chat right now, y'all the day ones, and we got big love for y'all. The Beard talked about it today, man. We're going to be doing some kind of a very cheap membership so we could get some of those emojis in the building. That'll be really dope, I think, for y'all. Shout out to Sunday, always holding us down one time in the chat. We so glad to see you back in the building. Yes. Beard, any last words before we get you on Cobb Pizzle's channel at 9 o'clock? And also, tomorrow, y'all check me out. I'm going to be going live with Bobby and Justin on Talking Giants. Me and the Pest, I think, are pulling up as well. Should be 8 o'clock. Maybe we be on about 8:30, but y'all should tune into the beginning of the show. It's going to start around 8 o'clock. Should be a really interesting show, man. Looking forward to chopping it up with them. But Beard, any last words, man, before we get up out of here?
No, just, I'm glad football is back, and I am, this time of the year, whether it's beginning of the year or end of the year, when it's Washington football team, New York Giants, that's like one, like obviously Dallas week is something different, but to be able to experience what we get to experience, as lifelong friends and fans of our teams, this is a great time of the year. So I am looking forward to the rest of this week, and definitely don't forget to check us out at the game if you guys are there. We will be Greenlaw E40. Oh, big shout out to the homie Derek Allison for the $19.99 super sticker. We appreciate it, brother.
Oh, you know you got to do the super sticker song, though.
Oh, here's a super sticker. Super sticker. That sticker super, yeah. Bow, 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 bow.
He like trilled you away with instruments and all that, yo. Shout out to my homie The Beard one time. Before we get up out of here, man, let's see them biceps in the chat one time. Y'all know what it is. Left side, strong side in the building time, man. That's my brother The Beard. If y'all want some more content tonight, make sure you go check out Copizzle, Copizzle. Fo shizzle my pizzle. We about to be in the building one time with The Beard talking Washington football team, and Copizzle is a New York Giants fan. It should be really interesting, man. Y'all be good out there. Joseph Bobby, I see you one time, man. I hope you're going to be at that game. I'll see you out there, man. We get to meet in person for real, man. Hey, Giants Nation, Washington football team, Philly fans, Dallas fans, we appreciate y'all being here, man. I go by Awthentik. That's my brother The Beard, man. Y'all be safe out there one time. Peace.